I guess this question's for everybody then. So, I mean, you were talking about how when you got here, you didn't enjoy the scene you were trying to be in and that you were trying to revolutionize. Now, are any of you comfortable in a scene? And is it working out? I mean, are you complacent? I mean, are you going bigger, better?
Well, I think that St. Louis has a really cool and very diverse musical scene, but I think it's also the anti-scene.
Yeah.
Because you can't go to a certain district in town, and go from one club to the next and be like, man, I hate this band. Let's walk across the street and see the other band. It's also spread out, so it makes it really hard for fans of music to really hone in on a certain area, and I think that's been the main struggle for St. Louis bands to really break out. Is it's not the fact that nobody's talented here in town. I mean, you got bands like King Thief here in town,
right?
And those guys are outrageous. Jimmy Griffin, I mean, that guy, I mean, he could play me a song that make me cry in an instant. I mean, the talent is here, the songwriting's here. It's just so hard to get momentum behind a band because it's so spread out. I came from a metal background, and I moved to St. Louis with the delusions of starting the most hardcore grindcore band the face of this planet has ever seen. I mean, I wanted to be crazy, and because I just moved to town, I was like, I'm gonna make a name for myself in this scene by pissing everybody off because I'm heavier than they are.
Wow.
And I found really quick that the metal scene from the West Coast is much different than the metal scene in the Midwest.
Because you're from around Portland originally.
Yeah, just south of Portland. Yeah. And, they are, I mean, they may be hippies and they may be vegans, but they are pissed off and, crazy as hell.
They're really sassy vegans.
Really sassy.
It's like Henry Rollins. I remember hearing him say that when Black Flag, used to tour in the early 80s or whatever, they'd pull up in their busted van and they would just be 3 starving vegetarians, but everyone at the venue thought they were these monsters.
Exactly.
So it's like, hey, do you guys got any lettuce or anything? And then they get on stage and they melt your face.
Need some gazpacho, please?
Right. Can I get some hummus, please? I'm famished.
Yeah. I mean, I moved here and I instantly found that, I mean, I'm not the easiest guy to work with musically because I don't know music very well. I just know what sounds good and what feels good, and I need to have people who I like to be around. And I found that I could not get into the metal scene because, 1, I didn't like the people, and 2, I didn't like what they were doing. It isn't the fact that the music isn't here. The music's here, and it never left.
It's really spread out, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's
absolutely.
Not really a central. There's a lot of little centrals, too.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's what I was thinking, as opposed to it being the anti-scene, it's like a collection of scenes. I mean, there's so many different...
It's a lot of really big cliques.
It's like a bunch of big cliques all next to each other. Just like, anything else in St. Louis, people always say it's like a bunch of little villages put next to each other or something.
Yeah.
And so, when I go and see really awesome bands like Theodore or Magic Hat, or whatever, and there's that whole circuit, sort of, which is almost like a regional thing for, that whole area. I mean, they all hang out at Off-Broadway, and, they play the Shafley Art Fair, and, it's like... And then you go over, and there's the bands that play at, what used to be the Creepy Crawl, and then the Pops, and Pops is the big thing. And so the circuits are all, totally different.
One of the things I'm kind of trying to do, though, is stay a little bit outside of my comfort zone, though, too, because I've seen that happen with a lot of bands where they get used to this venue or they get used to this gig, and I want to kind of try to keep moving around.
The fact of the matter is, too, is that St. Louis, I mean, it's Missouri. It's a show me state. You got to show me before I'm going to get behind it.
Right.
And therefore, you also have to convince people. And I think what's really good about all these groups, Pet Rock included, and I'm even going to speak for Sarah Speakeasy, even though I know absolutely nothing about them. We're all very nice people.
Yeah.
And we're all very fun to hang out with.
We're all just looking for a good time.
Yeah, we're looking for a good time.
We write songs that you can dance to and have a good time.
We want to have a good time with you.
Actually, we're gonna be very loud
Thank
and
you,
obnoxious
Donnie.
about having a good
Thank
time.
you for inviting me.
Yeah.
We're gonna be in your face about having a good time. You need to have a good time, and that's what it's all about.